everybody. Welcome back to Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen.
Hi, everyone.
We're going to talk about your final journey.
Final journey. Lord help me. Okay, that was my third.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, did you know going into this that it was gonna be your final journey?
yeah, because I aged out.
You aged out.
Yep.
What was the age at the time?
41.
So like you couldn't be 41 or like you couldn't be 42?
You couldn't be 42.
Ah, okay.
I believe I turned 41 while I was pregnant. I'm trying to think what. Yes, I was just about to turn 42 because she was born in January.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was aged out. That was it. And this one I literally did for nursing school. That is why I did it. It wasn't like I have to do another journey, blah, blah. I wanted to go to nursing school. I didn't know how to do it, working full time and having kids to raise and a mortgage. And I just didn't know how to do it. Um, so I did a surrogacy, put all that money away. And as luck would have it, when I was out on maternity leave for that pregnancy, I shouldn't say luck, but I was terminated from my job while on maternity leave, um, which is illegal in the state of California.
Wait, on which
Third.
on the third journey you were terminated?
Mm-hmm. They said that they were doing a reduction in force, but they gave my job to somebody in a different city in California. Right. Yeah. No. So, long story short, on that one, there was a lawsuit. I won. Not a problem. Yeah. Yeah. I was
Well.
let go while I was on leave having a baby. So, my job status was protected. Right. I
Right.
was 41. So, anything over the age of 40, it's age discrimination. So, that's number two.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it wasn't a real reduction in force. I was on leave and they just didn't want me to come back. I don't know why. That was so political in that job. It was crazy, but
Did they know that you were a surrogate?
yeah, and that was part of the problem.
And
My
they knew.
supervisor knew it was a surrogacy. I tried to keep it. I tried to keep the pregnancy hidden, but I couldn't. Obviously, you get a big belly. Then I had a complication. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
And she found out it was a surrogacy, and she found out it was for a homosexual couple. She was very religious. She told me flat out, my husband, her, would never agree to ever let her do that. And I said, well, that we're in different relationships and mine's okay with it. So that's where it started. And it just became a snowball. And so one of the things that came out in the lawsuit the third thing was religious prosecutions, like religious. I was fired because of beliefs. My beliefs weren't her beliefs. And she didn't admit that, but it came out in the court battle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's like so beyond illegal. Okay.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, but that allowed me to go to nursing school and collect
Yeah.
unemployment for 6 months of that nursing school, which was kind of nice. Yeah,
That's a
just kind of
bonus.
worked out. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's
Well,
how that was.
let's go back to the beginning. So you were with the agency. You were with I know, but you were with an agency for journey 1, journey 2.
Yeah.
And then why did you choose a different agency?
And I needed to get away from that atmosphere.
Okay.
I thought doing it a second time there, maybe it would be a little different. It was the same. It was the same. But I had a really good couple this time, and they felt the same things I did, and we just kind of navigated it together.
Can you elaborate a little on what you mean by the atmosphere there?
Um, Very much IP focused.
Ah, okay.
Um, had to attend these psychological meetings, like we've been talking about. They called them support groups. They weren't supportive at all.
Right.
It was the who's who of surrogacies. It was a nightmare. I dreaded every single month having to do it. And towards the end of that, I got out of doing them. Pregnant. I was triplet pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked around for an agency again. Not a whole lot were there. Right. Did it
Right.
online. Tried to find one that was going to align with what I was looking for, and I thought I found one.
And what were you looking for this time?
The compensation, I wanted to be where I wanted it to be, and it was. I wanted to pick the couple, and I was able to. Um, they were a little bit more, I don't know if the word's right, surrogate friendly, surrogate supportive.
Sure. Yeah.
Again, not like agencies are now, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I picked them. I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't even remember their name right now. I can't.
Ellen.
Nope, I know it's horrible. So I'm not even gonna try.
Oh, they clearly did not leave a mark.
No, they did not. No, nope, 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 nope.
Okay.
So I believe I read maybe 3 or 4 profiles with this one. I cleared pretty quickly and asked, got the profiles. Everything was kind of on target. Found a profile I liked and got matched. I believe they were in California. Yes, they were. They weren't too far from me, maybe 20 miles. Yeah, yeah, I
Oh
know.
my God.
Which,
Do we just like line up our lives?
yeah, I don't know. I I kind of was excited for that, like to have someone closer by, thinking, oh, maybe I could go to first birthday party, or we could,
Oh,
whatever. Yeah, things like that. But the relationship, it was very superficial, very transparent, or not transparent, very business, businessy. So the relationship was it was more business. It was more, we would like to have a child, and we're not trying to be all lovey-dovey, feely, you know, blah blah. So I didn't figure that out until we.
oh, I was gonna say,
No,
did you get this
no,
vibe in like the
no,
meeting?
no. They were on their best behavior. Everybody's on their best behavior. We
Sure.
met, I think, without the agency being there. Met for brunch.
Oh, like
Mhm.
it's for the first time?
Yeah. Mhm.
Sure. That's normal, sure.
Because we're in the same, like literally within cities of another. So, and it worked out well. I mean, that was okay. And in fact, I remember we had the match meeting the day after my high school reunion. I think it was my 20th high school reunion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would have been my 20th high school reunion, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, did a transfer with a doctor down in San Diego. That was who their fertility people were,
Right.
right? And I was able to be monitored up here, like in my area. So
Sure.
went down there for the transfer. It was like 3-day bed rest. Okay, we put in. Memory serves me right. It was two,
Yeah, that sounds right.
2 eggs. Did 3 days of bed rest, kind of by myself. It was weird. They got me this big presidential suite. It had like 2 bedrooms, a huge kitchen, a huge living room, a family. It was insane. I had to be on bed rest. I didn't need all that. So I stayed in the one little bedroom with the TV.
Right.
In fact, I was a little scared because it was so big, thinking
Yeah.
like, is somebody coming? It was weird. Um, at that point, yeah, I had you guys at home. So Mike he only could stay with me one night, I believe it was. And then he had to go and all your sports and everything.
Oh wow.
So I was by myself, and then it was time to leave, and I believe he came and picked me up. My
Dad did?
dad, yeah, he came and picked me up. And the couple, they stayed, but they didn't like come in and hang out.
Like the
Like
trip
my
that
second, right? It was more of a, oh, we're in San Diego. She's got to do her bed rest. We'll just hang out. And they ended up, I believe, I'm not quite sure because my memory's a little foggy on it, but if they came in at all, it was maybe once or twice, like to just say hi. It was kind of weird.
you're kidding.
Yeah, it's weird. It was weird. So went home, got back to life, doing the 3 kids in our lives and working full time and all that stuff. Did the beta, and numbers were high. Um,
I've never asked you this
uh,
because the 2 week wait.
yeah,
Did you ever like cheat? Like,
always,
oh, you did.
100% always. I found these great little tests that would test for 25. It tested super, super low. It was like the lowest level you could of the HCG hormone. And they
Oh,
were little strips, and I bought them in bulk. And so
yeah.
I would just test, 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 test. Yeah. And they finally started showing positive
Oh, okay.
before I had the beta. So don't you do the beta around day 10? I think is when I
Day
did
10
it.
is when you do
Yeah.
beta, yeah.
So I think around day 6 and 7, I was getting light lines.
Oh.
Yeah. And then they were pretty dark by the time. So then the numbers were high when we did the first blood test. And then when we went in for the ultrasound,
Mhm.
they saw 2 heartbeats. Well,
So
it was
both
like
took.
both took. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I'm getting really heavy at this point. I don't, this was like the worst one with the meds. The meds just
Oh,
really, maybe because it was my age, who knows? I just felt bloated. I just felt like huge. Like I wasn't that far along and I just was like a cow. Um, I had a 40th. Okay, that's right. It was my 40th surprise birthday party.
oh, that's
Right. So
right.
I must have been 40. I was going to hit 41 right after. Yeah, they were born. Okay. So for the 40th birthday surprise birthday party, you guys put it together.
Mhm.
And the next day, I started to spot and cramp a little bit. And it was like, oh, and that was in January. You guys did it in January to kind of throw me off.
Sure.
So went in for an ultrasound and found out that both heartbeats stopped. Both. And it was like, I think we were around 9 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Both stopped. So then you have to deal with that whole just conversation and oh my gosh,
Um,
what happened? Yeah.
conversation with who? Like, what do
The
you mean?
couple.
Oh, but did you have to have that conversation?
We had a conversation. I remember having a conversation that both heartbeat, no longer pregnant. We lost them. They had
You,
told,
but did you have to break the news to them? Like the doctor didn't tell them?
trying to think if they were at the ultrasound with me. They were not. They were not there. That's right. They weren't there. Right. So it may have been the doctor that called them. Them now again. This is San Diego. I was with that fertility
I
clinic and
know.
I was being monitored up here. So I wasn't very friendly with all these people like I was with my old fertility clinic.
Yeah.
So they may have called. I just remember the aftermath of that, having the conversation like, they're like, well, why do you think that happened? Like, I don't know why that happened. Like, that's the first time that's happened to me. Like, I've done this several times before. I've had 3 of my own. Like, just yeah. So
Hold on, we have to like unpack a bunch of stuff right now.
okay,
Okay, so who said why do you think that happened
they did
to you?
correct. I didn't. I
Like
didn't have
in
any
like a
answers.
like
No, I think they were just generally because they were so excited. They told all their friends. I was
mhm,
pretty like, yeah, this is certain. We have 2 heartbeats.
yeah.
Yeah, we're fine. Like we're good to go. And then that must have been like a week or 2 later. Boom, no heartbeats, and it was like, oh, this is
Mhm.
crazy. So I had to go through it. Neither one of them released and on their own the babies, right?
Right.
So I had to have a DNC.
I'm gonna still back up a little. When you found out that there were no heartbeats, this was like the first time for you
Yeah,
and you were by yourself.
devastating.
So,
Devastating.
okay.
Doesn't happen to me. That's the way I kept saying in my head. That's not right. It doesn't happen to me. What's happened? And and I know this is wrong, but I equated that all to I was at a different.
A different place.
Yeah,
I get
right.
that.
Yep. And I know that's not what it was at all.
Yeah,
I
just
just felt more comfortable with mine,
yeah.
my previous one.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was hard. I went through a lot of psychological like issues. I got a little depressed there. I remember it was tough. So we decided that we were going to continue on.
But did your agency intervene, help you out?
I don't really remember it. I don't remember
Okay.
a whole lot of support. They probably called and we talked and
Okay, sure.
but I don't remember a whole lot of support. I remember doing most of it on my own, just trying to kind
Right.
of, okay, can we try again? When can we try again? Can we do this sooner or than later? Like, so we agreed we were going to try again. But at this point, I said if we were going to do this again and I was going to go through the meds and all the cycle again, I wanted to use my fertility doctor in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
They agreed.
Okay. I'm still gonna just sorry, but we kind of like just went over it. You had a DNC.
I know. No
I
fun.
I know. Can you, because I mean there are girls who have had to have DNCs and so like
Yeah.
how was that for you?
Yeah. Um, I was defeated. Let's put it that way. Like I went in, we had the ultrasound, and they're like, okay, if you don't pass them yourselves, I think they gave me like 5 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. Then you're gonna have to have the DNC. And I'm like, okay, didn't, nothing. They stuck. It's like, all right. Went in,
Pass them, pass them yourselves. So I'm just trying to understand. So like literally they would pass through
like a
your body.
miscarriage. Yeah, like a right, exactly like a miscarriage. Right. So I would have seen like 2 placentas and 2 small. Yeah, that's what should have come out. Right. But it didn't. And at this point, I'm like, technically, well, 9 weeks is when the heartbeat stopped, but technically now we're 10, right? I
Yeah.
mean, 10 weeks from the, if you do gestational age, but they didn't
Right,
grow
right.
anymore. Okay. So DNC, I believe, yes, I was put out for that. It was like a procedure and they
Okay.
just cleaned everything out, which I think benefited us. My uterus was clean, everything was, nothing
Sure.
else was there. They didn't have to, everything was good. It just needed a little extra help because they attached so sticky. Boom, they just attached. So I need a little help getting them out. Okay, so they did. So we agreed, like I said, to continue on with a second to try it again. Because in our contract, it said we would try up to 3 times.
Okay.
But this is where I steered them and I said, yeah, I do not feel comfortable. I want to be over here. If I'm the one who's going to be carrying and I'm the one who's going to be dealing with the fertility clinic, I want to be here.
Okay. So now I have another question. So
Yeah,
you have a DNC, which is my understanding kind of like a surgery.
yeah, it is.
So your body has to recover.
Right. Exactly.
How did it feel? Do you remember how it felt like after you had this procedure? Like, how was like, was it contracting again or?
No, I honestly felt good.
Okay.
Like that's out. It's
Yeah.
not going to now create infections and things like that with me. It's out. I
Okay.
can start now the process of healing me
Hmm.
mentally and physically, right?
Yeah.
Um, and get on the train to start again. And that's what I needed. I needed like a fresh start.
And how long did you have to wait? Do you remember?
Yeah. I could just back it up. That was one. So 8 months. So 4 months in April. April. The first one was I was already that happened in January.
So you had to wait like 2.5, 3 months.
We transferred in April. Yes.
Okay.
Right. And then she was
Okay.
born January.
So they agreed now to go to the doctor
Yes.
that you felt comfortable with.
Yes. And I can't remember if they had embryos that came with them
Okay.
or if we did a fresh cycle. I think we did a fresh.
Okay.
I really do. I think we did a fresh cycle with that one. Again, too.
Same dad?
I don't I did never knew.
Oh, okay.
They didn't tell. Either time they didn't tell me.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I'm not quite sure if they knew. I think they spun it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, they did. That 100% they spun it.
That's
So we
cool.
wouldn't know. Right. Um, so 2 again, they both took. Beta numbers were high again.
Mhm.
2 heartbeats at the ultrasound. They waited this time to tell friends. I think maybe till we were 12 weeks.
Okay.
Still, everybody was doing good. Baby A, baby B. And then one of the dads came to I think I had a 14-week ultrasound. Yeah, 14. And we're doing the scan. She finds baby A, doing really good. And I've had enough ultrasounds in my life to know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
He did not. And I whispered to her, "Where's baby B?" And she goes, "We'll get there in a minute." I'm like, oh no. And my heart just sank because I already knew.
Yeah.
So the big doc comes in because I'm
Um,
back at my OB the triplets, because this was twins. So I'm back at him.
oh,
So
okay.
he came in and he did the ultrasound and he said, "Yeah, I'm sorry to say, baby B has no heartbeat." And without missing a beat,
Oh my God.
my intended parent who was there
Yeah.
stood up, screamed, "What did you do wrong?" I'm laying on a table,
Oh my God.
feet in the footrests, has a weenie wand inside. I can't even get up to react. Thank goodness my doctor was there, my OBGYN, high risk OBGYN. He kind of squashed that right then and there
Good.
and had him leave the room.
Good.
went out and talked to him. And I didn't hear the conversation, but he had said something. He told me it was something to the effect of, it's nothing her body did. It's nothing she did. Pretty sure it was embryo. And apparently he had an issue with that, thinking, no, it's not, and this and that, blah, blah. So that created a rift in the relationship, big time, big time. Because I'm sorry, nobody should, I don't care how devastated you are, you still have one that's alive and kicking and heartbeat
Well,
strong.
not just that, but the audacity that
I know.
this person had to be like, what did you do? It's like,
Yeah,
I helped you with
yeah,
a baby.
right,
That's what I'm doing.
right, right. Well, they had twins that
I
miscarried,
understand.
right?
I
Now,
understand, but still, you don't
so,
ever blame the surrogate. Like,
right, I
well,
agree. I agree. You don't,
I won't say don't ever, but like
if she did something, if
99% of
she
the
went,
time, surrogates aren't the fault of
right,
the situation.
right, right.
Wow. How
Yeah.
like
So it was, I went out to the car. I had to walk past him. I went to the car. I
oh my God.
called because Mike didn't come, Dad didn't come with me. There was no reason for him to come to that appointment.
But you had to
And
walk past him. Like, so was he like staring at you? Like,
he was just going to stay and get some more information from the doctor, apparently. No, I just walked really fast. I had to go to the front desk and make my next appointment.
oh my God.
And they're like, oh, a twin scan. And I'm like, yeah, no, we just lost one. Like they didn't even know. Like it was the weirdest after of an
Situation.
appointment. Yeah, it was odd. So I was still trying to digest it. I walked out. I got my car, called Dad, called my husband, and I broke down. And I just said he just laid into me like it was my fault, and called the agency,
Oh, good.
told the agency that what was happening and what was going on, and I'm trying to get this fan to start working again. Sorry. And he and the agency apparently got in touch with them. They were nice enough, they made sure I was okay and this and that. And but here's the thing: when one leaves, when one aborts itself or is a miscarriage,
Oh, we could take the other one.
uh, and it was baby B. So baby B was higher in the uterus than baby A.
So do they I still forget. So the exit,
Yep.
right?
Whoever's
So
closest.
does it go A, B, like C
Yep.
is like closer to your like
Right.
your upper
Whatever
body?
baby is closest to the cervix
Hmm.
exit, that's baby A. And
So
they
it goes
work up
like
from
that.
there. Mm-hmm.
Also, baby B was top.
B was top. So if baby B decided to abort,
Oh my God, he could take the other
take
one.
baby A. Right. And we're at like 14, 15 weeks right now.
Oh my God.
So we got to get to 40, right?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
What did your doctor have to say about that?
It was like you just keep doing what
Live
you're
your
doing.
life.
Right. There's not a whole lot you can do. We're going to get you in
Wow.
here for more regular scans, make sure that the baby's growing,
Oh my
make
God.
sure that everything's okay with baby A. But I'm just letting you know that's a possibility. I'm like,
Talk
okay.
about stress.
Yeah, big time. For the rest, how many more weeks?
You got like 20 plus weeks.
Right. Right. So, um, I just tried to put it out of my mind. It was a little difficult, but you try to put it out of your mind. You're
Well, of course it's
carrying
difficult.
one deceased and one live, and you're like, let her make it. It was a girl, let her make
Right.
it. So I think we didn't go to 40.
Oh no.
I want to say it
Okay.
was 39 because I went in and I was starting to contract slightly, right? And my doctor just wanted to make sure things were okay. Put
Sure.
me on, did the stress test, monitoring, did an amniocentesis, lungs were developed.
You
Yeah,
got amnio?
I did.
Did you
That's
see the
very
needle
good.
go in you?
Yes, I did.
Why, Ellen? Why?
I did.
Oh my
Mhm.
God. Why? What was the purpose of the
Wanted to
amnio?
make sure that her lungs were developed if they were going to induce me to deliver. So I was already contracting on my own, did a fetal stress test. I think I did two of those, one a day back to back, one day, next day. And they didn't like what they were seeing, but I had already started contracting. So I'm like, if I can just kind of do this on my own, you okay with that? And, my doctor's like, well, let's see. So, of course, I go into labor all by myself. I'm like, okay, cool.
Because you're an overachiever.
I
So.
am an overachiever.
I know.
So, get to the hospital, and I had had a C-section with the triplets, so this is a C-section.
Oh, that's right.
Irregardless, we are not going VBAC, especially now
Yeah.
with baby B not being there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So get in the hospital, or I'm in the hospital, and and they're trying to like slow these down because they know they need to do a C-section.
Right.
So they get me. We didn't even know the C-section was happening until, gosh, I don't know. It was like maybe 7 a.m. the morning of. And so we called Mike, actually, my husband actually went down and called as soon as we
Yeah.
knew what was happening, he called the intended parents and said, listen, she's contracting. They have to do a C-section. It's this morning and she's getting prepped for surgery. They had moved at this point and were about 90 to 100 miles away.
Oh,
Right. Still California.
sure.
And apparently got there, did what they had to do and got here. Obviously, the C-section had taken place.
Yeah.
So they pulled her out first, alive, baby A. She was healthy. I think she was over 8 pounds. And then they pulled baby B because it was a boy, have to get him out. And they had asked, I'll back up a little bit. The hospital had asked, because they knew now what was going on, obviously for weeks. And they asked the couple, did they want a memory book, memory pictures, anything for the surviving baby to be able to know that her twin, they were happy to do anything that the couple wanted. They said they wanted
Oh.
no part of it, none.
Oh.
So that relinquished not the rights, but that relinquished the what to do with baby B to
Sure.
me.
To you, because you're carrying.
Correct. They were only interested in baby A. So
Wow.
baby A was taken to the nursery. They met her, what have you, did your thing. I heard her cry. That's all I needed. And then baby B, obviously, they put him in a little, it's a kidney dish. I don't know. Sometimes you get him in the hospital.
He could fit in that?
Well, it was a little bit bigger and it was metal. So imagine it being maybe 1.5 times that size.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like a big lima bean
Yes.
looking
So it was a
thing.
little bit bigger. It was that shape, but bigger, and it was made of metal. Okay. It
Yeah.
wasn't plastic like we get in the hospitals. It was metal. So I had asked, I knew they wanted nothing to do with baby B. And my doctor's the one who delivered, who did the C-section. And he said, hey, listen, what do you want? And I said, we'd really like to see baby B and say a little prayer, if that's okay. And he's like, absolutely. So I brought him over. I wish we would have taken a picture because honestly, I can't even describe what this looked like. Perfectly formed baby at about 13, 14 weeks in the fetal position on his side, attached to the placenta. That's how they took it out. And that's how it was in the dish, how in the little kidney thing. And I'm like, my God, that's like a baby. Like you've seen pictures of 14-week baby. They're
Yeah.
babies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're tiny.
Yeah, little head was a little bigger, little body, right? It was, just I was like, wow, that's crazy. So not super, super religious, but in that point I needed to say a prayer. I knew that baby had been deceased for quite some time, but where's that baby going to go? What's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
My doctor saw what my husband and I were doing, and he said, listen, if it's okay with you, I'm going to send out some samples and find out the cause, and I will let you know. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much. Because I still felt guilt.
Yeah,
Still,
well, yeah, I
how
get
could
that.
you not, right?
Yeah.
Guilt. Why did one make it and the other one didn't?
Well, not just that, the fact that like you already were feeling awful, and then for the IP to be like, your fault, what'd you do? Like,
Yeah. So sewed me up. He kept true to his promise. He did what he needed to do. We'll be back to my room. So at this point, I literally just saw her taken out. Like he
okay.
showed me her face, and I'm like, do not put her on me. Take her. Yeah. So they did. At some point, by the time I got out of recovery, they had gotten there. So they were bonding with their baby. Great. Fantastic. I'm in my room. My contract had the hour.
I know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Had a C-section, so I was going to be there for, I believe at that time it was 3 days. I was trying to get out earlier, but they're like, nope, C-section, got to stay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was the second day. So I had her one day, and maybe I was back in my room by noon after the surgery and everything. So that whole day went by, didn't see her. They didn't say anything to me. They didn't
Mm,
come in and say hi.
yeah,
No,
sure.
I understand. They with their baby. It's all right. Next day, I asked for my hour at the time I wanted because I was having some of you come over. I'm not quite sure if everybody came, but I know my mom did, and I believe you came.
I remember coming because we brought you a Coke.
Yeah, and my husband came. I don't think the bigger kids came, but I
I
think
don't
it
remember
was you
that. I
guys.
just remember going with
Yeah.
grandma.
So we worked that out, got the hour. So baby was wheeled into me at the precise time. I had a little outfit. I changed her like I do
Hmm.
with all the babies,
Hmm.
except the triplets. I didn't never change them.
Well, but
Um,
you got lots of time with them.
yeah.
So.
Changed her into a little pink outfit. Took some pictures. Everybody got to hold her. Now that hospital was having some staffing shortages, unbeknownst to me. I
Sure.
didn't need to know that as long as I was being taken care of. 15 minutes before my hour was up, this nurse who I hadn't seen in my almost 2 days being there came flying in the room. It's time for her to go back now. I said, no, it's not. I have an hour and I'm going to take every minute of that hour. Oh no, it's time. You need to leave my room and you need to leave it right now. I will bring her back at the designated time that we agreed. And she's just very bitchy, very pissy. She left. I had like 10 minutes left. I was really rattled now at this time. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
going on? So I wheeled her back. I had a minute to spare. I wheeled her back. Everything was fine. Put her in the nursery. That nurse was still there. Come to find out, she was a floating nurse. She was from a pool of nurses where when they needed extra coverage, they called them on the phone. Like, wasn't even like
Wow.
a nurse of that hospital. She found out the situation with the dads and got very chummy. They must have said stuff
Yeah.
about me, right? And she was trying to protect them. That's all I could figure out. So you
Sure.
know me.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
letting that sit.
Oh no, Ellen back in her days of letter writing and
Ugh. So you guys left, and I got the charge nurse.
treated.
Yeah. The nurse that's over all the staff for the hospital. And they came in my room. Maybe 8 o'clock that night. Maybe it was a little earlier before shift change, and apologized profusely.
I'm sure.
Said that they would never have her back again. That is unacceptable. That is not how we treat this. You are
Wow.
not the first surrogate in this hospital. I'm like, yeah, I bet I'm not. I was
Yeah.
the first one in my first baby over at the little dinky hospital in
Yeah.
my town, but not this one. And I'm like, of course I'm not. I said she was incredibly rude. What was I going to do? Take the baby and run? Yeah, no, it just had a C-section.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they ever had her back again or not, but these two women were very, very upset by what happened. And then,
Sure.
of course, I wrote a letter later complimenting them
Oh,
and at once they knew the situation at what
sure.
they did, and blasting the other one and saying how ridiculous and how unprofessional. So
Sure, sure.
I was taking a walk. You have a C-section, you've got to walk. Okay, you don't want to get blood clots. So I was taking a walk down the hall, and this was prior to me getting my hour. So it must have been the second day in the daytime. And
Okay.
one of the dads walked down the hall, the nicer of the two,
Oh,
walked down the hall, and his eyes flew open and he said, Ellen. And I said, hey. And and he's like, thank you so much. And then he just walked away. At least I got a thank you from one of them. I don't
that's
know.
so weird though. What a
It was so
drastic.
uncomfortable. I could not wait to get out of that hospital.
No, I don't blame you.
So uncomfortable. So never got any pictures, never kept. Well, I got to back up a little bit. Um, we, like in your contract, sometimes where you put that you have to contact them once a week, you have to tell them what's going on. Okay. Because they were so, after he blew up at me and was so nasty, and it just went downhill, and I just couldn't talk to them anymore. So I told the agency, I'm not going to. I will send an email to
Sure.
the agency, and they can forward it to them. But I know, like mother, like daughter, like daughter, like mother.
It's just so
I
funny.
know. It was ridiculous. And it was each the third journey, huh? Third. Whatever.
Yeah, just the parallels.
I know. It's so ridiculous. So we didn't talk. I
at
didn't communicate
all?
with them until like 35 weeks. And then
Oh
we
my
started
God.
to email one another, but they were just, baby's doing fine, baby's measuring this, but it was just nothing. Yeah.
Basic, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It was very, very, very uncomfortable. And I think if I could give one piece of advice to intended parents, I mean,
Oh,
really, sorry, not surrogates, intended parents, you can be feeling what you're feeling when you see something on a scan and you're in the room, but keep those feelings and emotions to yourselves. Of course, you're going to be upset. Think how the surrogate feels. Calm down, go out of the room, take a breath, do something, but don't
yeah.
put all of that on your surrogate.
Yeah, they already feel so much
Yeah.
emotion and guilt. And it's not like an attachment situation. It's a I signed up to do a job
Yep.
and it didn't go how it should or how it was planned.
Right.
So to add the extra guilt of a pointing finger
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. I mean,
I agree.
yours is kind of like the only one that I've thank God it's the only time I've ever heard that somebody's like been like, it's you. What did you do? Because
Right.
like, oh my God, like I think these ladies today would be like,
You're out of here.
no, like they would
Yeah.
snap back real quick.
But back then you
No,
weren't
no, I
getting the
know.
support you needed. You were just doing what
Absolutely.
you knew to do and your body was doing what it needed to do.
Yeah,
And I didn't expect anything because 2 weeks prior, baby B was fine.
I
Baby
know.
B was great. And then boom, you go in for
And
the
you were
next.
past the 12, you were past the scary marks, the safe marks that most people say, like, oh, like the 12 weeks and like then oh you're gung-ho free, like everything's gonna work out just fine. And it's scary to know that like the 12-week mark really isn't like the end all be all, everything's gonna be great and okay.
Yep.
But
Yeah, it's support
yeah,
team. Yeah. So yeah, it was, yeah. She was, I'm trying to think, born early January and I started nursing school late January. Yeah, I like
damn, you just were like nope.
it. Yeah. I went to the orientation when I was like 8 months pregnant with her, thinking that okay, I'm going to be able to get into this
Well, wait, at what point were you laid off?
uh after my 8 weeks of maternity leave.
Oh, after your 8
Well,
weeks.
during I was ready to go back. It was like maybe a week prior to me going back, and I got a phone
Oh,
call from my supervisor in HR.
so you had already started the nursing school?
No, no, you're correct. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Hold on a second.
Not that this matters.
That's
I'm just
right.
curious.
That's right. No, I went August to August. That's
You went
correct.
August to
So I
August.
was let go. That's right. I'm sorry.
And you took your 6 months of unemployment.
Unemployment, right? I kind of dealt with you kids, got things together,
Sure.
healed, did whatever I needed to do.
Went to school when we went to school.
Right. August to August. Right.
I got
Correct.
you.
And lived off and had the surrogacy
You had the
money.
surrogacy money and we lived off
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yes. That was my income. Correct.
And now you work in the nursing field.
I do. Right. Which is yay. Good for me. Snappy, snappy, snappy. You're so funny.
No, proud of you, Mom.
You're so funny. Thank you, dear. There was one other thing I was going to tell you on that one, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
Can't remember.
You never heard from them after?
Nah. Nope.
So you don't know if they had like they went on to have more kids?
I do not.
We
I
should
do.
Facebook stalk them.
I think part of me was like, you still have one. You still have one. Can we relish in that? Can we like support that? Can we be happy about that? Like the stress that was on me every single day. Oh God, please, 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 please don't let it be today. Don't let baby B do anything. But that little guy just stuck right where he was. He
Yeah.
stuck right where he
No,
was and he
that's a
wasn't going
lot of
anywhere.
that's a lot of stress. And then in the back of your mind, it's like, what else are they gonna yell at me? Like, how else are they gonna blame me? Like, what else is
Well,
gonna
that's why,
happen? Like,
yeah, that's why communication stopped. I was like, I
oh,
can't.
I don't blame you. That's too much. You're already stressed out daily. You don't need the extra stress because then you will go into preterm labor and
Right,
then bad things will happen.
right,
So
right.
it's just
Yeah.
it's
So the only thank you I got
was when he was like,
I met him in the hall, right?
yeah.
And he did come in for a little bit of a hug,
Oh,
and he was the one who actually yelled. at me.
Wait, you just said the nicer one said thank you.
True. He was the
So
nice
the
one.
nicer one yelled at you?
He did. I think it was
Ew.
just emotion. I think it was you just lost a baby and you didn't realize like what else you got. But to say me, what happened?
Yeah, to take his
You do.
aggression out on you.
Yeah. It should have been, doctor, what happened? Like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. Is there a reason for
Yeah,
that?
it
Yeah.
should have gone to like a concern, like a OMG, I'm sad, rather than like I'm mad at you.
And how is
Yeah.
the surrogate gonna deal with this? What's gonna happen to the other baby? Like
Yeah.
he didn't get any of that information in the room. They made him leave and I got the information for me. I'm like, okay, what about baby A? What's happening? They're like, you're just gonna carry the pregnancy, and if baby B decides to abort, it might take baby A. So you just gotta be
Yes. Just do your job.
vigilant. I'm like, okay, all right, I got it. Crazy. But then, you know, once I got to like the 36, and I'm like, okay, because if baby B does go, that means baby A is just going to be born. Like, we're
Sure.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was still a long time. Still a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's different these days. I know it is, but
It is, and thank God for that.
yeah, thank God. You would hope. And we know that 20 years, of course, it's going to make a difference. The science is better. Everything's better.
Yeah,
Everything.
well, not everything, but lots of things.
Communication's better. I think the support that the surrogates get, because you guys have your Facebook groups and your Instagram groups and your just you can get answers to anything, whereas we had to really kind of work for it. I think that's a double-edged sword, because I think sometimes you guys can get too much information and it can be really like, oh, wait a minute.
I
Whereas,
wouldn't say it's too much information. I would say sometimes you get misinformation
okay.
because what I'm seeing
Yeah.
is people are now talking. Okay, I don't want to like, I'm not trying to throw people under the bus. Just I've seen where girls are saying false things about surrogacy to get clicks and to get like followers, and then like you like actually end up finding out like, oh, that's, well, wait, this person said this, and like this isn't happening. So it's now I don't
Yeah.
it's just it's rough because it's like, guys, stop. Like you're really backtracking on what a lot of us are working really hard on, which is trying to show that we're not all in this for the money, like, and you know, and stuff like that, like, because we talk about compensation, we talk about that, yes, it helps everybody and surrogates need to be paid,
Yeah.
but to advertise it so much on social media to the point where you're profiting off of false information,
Not good. Not good.
that's where
I'd have to draw a line there. Yeah, I would have to
yeah.
disassociate myself with stuff like that.
But people who are new to surrogacy don't know that that's
Right.
misinformation,
No,
and then they
agreed.
go on these, you know, they
Agreed.
go on their research or whatever, and they're like, wait,
Yeah.
where is that? I don't see that, and so it's
Right. Oh, it's
yeah.
too bad. And I will say, you said, you know, you don't do it for money. I 100% did that third one for money.
I am not saying that we don't do it.
100%.
Okay, pause. Mom, me and you have talked about this so many times.
I know.
Absolutely. Surrogates need to be compensated for their time, their body, their like I'm not even gonna like list all of the things
No.
as to why a surrogate should be compensated right now.
Right.
And I did it for a house,
Right.
but like at the same time fell madly in love with surrogacy and everything that it has. Even after having such a crummy experience, I still recommend surrogacy if people are like, hey,
Yeah.
did you like it? Yeah, I love it.
Right. And that's my first two. Absolutely. I did it because I wanted to help somebody that was just a passion. But I'm not gonna lie. I want to be transparent. That third one, the only reason I did it because I wanted to do something for me. And the first two surrogate money batches didn't go, they had other uses. And one of them, they had other uses. And so I absolutely signed up. And I told the couple that. I said, yes, I like being pregnant, but this is going to help me get through nursing.
Oh God, you told them that?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Well, that explains a little bit of your business transaction then.
I even told the agency, I was just like, this it's going to try to help me get through nursing school. I do pregnancy well. I'm here for the duration. We'll try it 3 times. Let's do it. But when they switched fertility doctors, I just was at peace. Like, okay, great. And I knew that he and because it wasn't him, we were already released to our OB, my OB,
Oh, okay.
when baby B no longer.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just very, very different scenario, because you have to go through the whole thing and carry a live one and carry a deceased one. And people, I always say I had twins, and I know people go, oh, well, they weren't born alive. Yeah, I get that. But I carried both. And that, yes, they weren't all that, yes, it wasn't a live birth. One was a live birth, one wasn't. But that was a very traumatic surrogacy, a very traumatic pregnancy.
I couldn't imagine, because most of the times it ends up in a a D&C or a miscarriage, not a I'm gonna carry one to term,
right,
while the other one hopefully just chills and doesn't take the other one with it. Like,
unless you're doing a selective reduction, which I understand now is not really a thing. It was back then because they just put a bunch of eggs in.
I have in all my contracts that if it results in multiples and like stuff like that, but I have not ever signed a contract that says like I will do a selective reduction just for the hell of it. It has to be a medical reason, like that the parents or the doctor says like, no, this has to happen. Because I'm not the one who's going to be like, oh yeah, let me deal with, I'm not the one dealing with the, a medical problem in my child. So that goes to you.
Right.
But yeah.
And for all three of mine, it was I had no say whatsoever. The parents had the say. And that's why in the triplet pregnancy, it became so hard, because I knew I could do it. And they were like, nope, we're going to reduce. And I'm like, ah! Yeah, it was like, oh God, help me. And it worked out. It totally worked out. But I had no say.
But you signed away saying you had no say.
I did. And that's enough. Yeah. I signed it away thinking I would never be in that position.
Of course, I don't think anybody thinks that. I don't think anybody thinks that.
Had I go back, Ellen, do it again, like I know all of this, I would definitely, it would.
You'd have it worded differently.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's that one. Yep. So that was the end of my surrogate journeys. Yep.
How do you feel that you can't be a surrogate anymore?
I'd really like to do it, but you know what? I got my tummy fixed. So
I know. You got a mommy makeover.
Dear Lord, the triplet pregnancy. I mean, come on, there was skin everywhere. I would work out like a banshee, and you're never gonna get rid of the skin ever.
Stretched like an elephant. It
was insane.
Your stomach was so big.
It was so big. You usually get 40 around. Big. I got 60 around, 60 centimeters around, and there's usually 40. So that was 20. I mean, that you could tell in my little roll. Like I couldn't find pants that fit. It was just, it was time, and I waited a while to do it. I did. Yeah.
You waited years, because I was a mom by the time you did this.
That's right. Yeah. But so I think part of me would like to be involved in surrogacy if I could get that avenue, like maybe work for an agency, or maybe talk to girls coming in or something like that. But I really would want to have my hands in it every single day. And I just don't know if a career change right now is the best thing, but I'm open. Totally open. Seriously, if somebody,
I'm not dissing
somebody that we've talked to or something, and they're like, oh, we have a spot. Okay. Yeah. Well, heck yeah. Call me up. I'm good. I'm a nurse too. So there we go.
Or, we could just like do something.
We could, but starting our own agency is going to be a little difficult.
Yeah.
Need some capital.
There are other avenues and options other than agencies, Ellen.
That's true. We can look into that.
Yeah.
So that was my journey.
What is your takeaway
from the 3 journeys, or just the third one?
From the 3 journeys from being a surrogate.
I would do it all over again in a heartbeat.
Sure.
Even though there were some downs, there's always going to be.
Yeah.
It was like.
Would you say there were more ups than downs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, more ups than downs. And those ups all really occurred in the one journey.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Your triplet journey just triumphs like all journeys.
It just does. Even though we had those hard conversations about selective reduction, and then I was rushed to the hospital, with the hemorrhage, and it was like, oh my God, are we losing all three? Like there were some hard times.
Yeah.
But once we got to like 14, 15 weeks and that was all behind us, we were like, we were flying. Yeah, it was great. It was lovely. So yeah.
What?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what were you gonna say?
You said was my takeaway. Yeah, I would do it again in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I wish I would have started younger
Okay.
so that I
Yeah.
could have helped more families because I was done with my family. I did not start surrogacy until I was done with my family.
I know, but I'm gonna tell you something. Nowadays, that considers 6 pregnancies. You're done.
What considers 6? Because I had
You
3
had
and 3.
three. You had three
Yes,
of your own.
correct.
You had 3 for other people.
Yeah.
So you would be hard pressed to find a fertility clinic that would allow you to do it. You would have to you would have to befriend somebody.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So really, you did as many as you could. I don't know how many they would let you do back then, but
Right.
you did as many as you could today.
There was no limit. I'm not gonna say limit. There was no cap on that.
Yeah.
It was if you could be medically cleared and your uterus was hospitable, you were good to go.
There are clinics like that. I've done a deep search on that because I remember saying in my second journey, like, oh, I'm going to do this as many times until they say I can't. I mean, I got so much crap for that, but like, and they were like, oh, really high? And I was like, well, and then I was like, but then I also found another article saying that you can only do 6 pregnancies in total. So if you have 5 kids, the understanding that I have with a lot of fertility clinics is you can only do 1 surrogacy.
Right.
So yeah.
Got it.
Just like a little thing. But what is your biggest advice?
Advocate for yourself. 100% speak up for yourself. You can do it in a very professional manner, but you're not the only one affected here. To be a surrogate, you have to have had a child. So right there's a child involved or children, and there could be significant others involved. Speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
And get, I hate to say get what's deserved to you, but don't be afraid.
Know your worth.
Know your worth. Yeah. Don't be afraid to put something in that contract if it's important to you. If you have a wedding coming up, and this is just an example, if you have a wedding coming up that's a state away or that you have to drive, and you put that in your contract that if your doctor states you can go, you get to go. And have an OB on call where that places. Like that's just an example because we've talked to many surrogates who have not been able to do family things. Yeah. And I understand you don't want to travel in the 3rd trimester. Totally get it. You don't want to be flying, to Europe. You don't want to be, but if it's something simple, like it's a 4-hour car ride or know that ahead of time. Because most of us do know what's coming down the line, like about a year in our big events anyway.
Yeah. Well, you got to know to be a surrogate.
Right. And then the other thing I would suggest, which we did it once as a family, was we went on a vacation after the surrogacy. We did. Yeah. I would, if you can get that in your budget, even if it's just a little one, just so that the family can reconnect and they can have your undivided attention for 5 days, 4 days, a week, what have you. And you can take some me time. Yeah. Big proponent of that.
I did that after each, it just so happened to work out that we went on vacation each time after.
Yep.
I had, and I went during my 6 weeks.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's helpful too. So you don't have to take other time off. Yeah, that's true. Like the one gal, I forget her name, but she went like, I think 2 weeks after the birth of the baby and
Oh, you're talking about Mary.
Yeah.
She went to Hawaii.
And she got engaged, right? Yeah. Which I thought was really cool because she had something to look forward to, right? Yeah.
For her.
Right. Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's kind of it. Just know your worth and just speak up. Speak up for yourself. Seriously. Don't just let somebody else decide for you. And IPs asked to see multiple profiles. Do not have a couple assigned to you. I don't think that's the right way to do it. They can be assigned to you and you have a match meeting, like you can have a little meeting, but if you're uncomfortable, don't agree.
Have the ability to, because I will just say I 100% agree with that. However, it does depend on what you're asking for, because the more you ask for, it limits your options.
Yes,
I am a huge example of that. So that's why, and it basically came down to, hey, here's an individual,
Yeah.
meet. But if we didn't get the right click, they would look again and they'd be like, okay, meet.
Right.
But it was one at a time for me because
Exactly.
but if you're a first time surrogate, definitely ask.
Right.
Like, know what you want to go into.
Right. And the only reason I'm saying that is because my first journey, the couple was given to me. That was it. I had no choice. And I think I could have said, now knowing what I know, this doesn't seem like a good fit, because it didn't seem like a good fit. But I'm like, oh, I'm finally matched. Okay, I guess got to be quiet and go with it.
Yeah.
I wish I would have spoken up. Right. I think it would have been a way bigger, way different outcome. Way different outcome. Yep.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it all
I
worked
know.
out in the end.
I know. We learn. We learn. We learn.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, well, this
Lovely.
is wonderful. Congratulations on creating
Come
so
on.
many humans for the world.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm very proud of you. And thanks for like showing me that like surrogacy is like a thing.
Right? I
Yeah.
never thought you'd do it ever. I never thought it was a thing for you. Yeah.
I was the youngest and I was the one that got hooked the most.
Yeah, I think you were around majority of it, because we would have to take you with us, because the other two could go and do their thing. And
Yeah, well, they were teenagers. I was under the age of 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
5 when we started. Yeah,
I
you were
know.
5.
I know.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys have any stories or any questions that you guys would like to share, please feel free to contact me on Instagram at Stop.Sit.Surrogate.
It's been another edition of Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen. Bye, guys.
Bye.